Today on Let's Talk Drinks, I'm going to do a review on the Jameson Cask Mates IPA and Stout editions. Hi guys, welcome back. So obviously being a bartender, we all love Jameson. Jameson is probably one of the biggest shots, Jameson and Jack Daniels, that we have behind the bar. At one of my bars, Manhattan Bar, the Jameson Pickleback is extremely popular, where we just shoot a shot of Jameson Original with some pickle juice. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about the Cask Mates. So I was really happy when Jameson brought out something a little bit different, and they have a stout edition and a IPA, which is not an India Pale Ale, but an Irish Pale Ale. Pretty much they are Jameson Irish whiskey that is rested in beer barrels. And where the hell did they come up with this idea? So it was around August 2013. So the guys from Middleton Distillery, which is where Jameson is actually made, were regulars at a local brew pub that was owned by the Franciscan Well Brewery. After a few cheeky pints, they were asked by the brewery guys whether they could borrow some Jameson barrels so that they could experiment with their beers. The fellas from Jameson obviously said yes and sent them a dozen barrels immediately. However, there were two rules. They weren't allowed to use Jameson on any of their labels, and they could only be sold if it was a superior product in case it was associated with the Jameson brand. So the guys from the Franciscan Well Brewery decided to rest some of their stouts in the barrels that had aged Jameson whiskey. After resting for 3 months, they took a few bottles of beer to the Jameson guys to see whether they would approve. The Jameson masters were so impressed that they gave permission for the brewery to use Jameson on their labels. After aging these beers for a while, the brewery ran out of space and contacted Jameson and said, look, we've got so many empty barrels here. What do you want us to do with them? Can we send them back? Once they were returned to Jameson, Dave Quinn, the head of science at the distillery, decided to then refill the barrels again with Jameson. He wasn't sure how it would turn out, but thought it might be a little bit of fun to experiment also. Dave kind of forgot about it, and about 5 to 6 months later, one of the warehousemen reminded him about the casks. They tried the whiskey and were quite surprised that it still retained its fruitiness, but it had also added chocolate, coffee, and toffee notes. And to top it off, it had this really rich, creamy mouthfeel. Enough talking about it, let's give it a try. I'm going to do the stout series first. So on the nose, I get that sort of green apple pear fruitiness. A little bit of hazelnut. A little bit of sort of chocolatey, milky chocolate. And just a little bit of mulled spice. For the taste, it's definitely sweet. I get that really nice oakiness. I get a little bit of toffee, a little bit of hops there coming through from the beer as well. And it really finishes off with that sort of coffee, chocolatey marzipan flavour. I really like it. I love Jameson. Jameson for me growing up was always my go-to. I used to drink a lot of Jameson and dry, Jameson and soda. But this is just a lot more complex. It's totally different. I really love it. I'm really picking up on that charred oak right now too. The finish is long, sweet, chocolate, coffee. Kind of reminds me of an iced coffee, and I tend to get a little bit of butterscotch at the end as well. Really nice creamy mouthfeel. I really enjoy drinking this neat. I've had it before in an old fashioned as well, but one of the things that I found this went really well with is in an espresso martini, because you're already getting that chocolate and that coffee. It really works well. If you haven't tried this, go out and buy a bottle. I totally recommend it. So because of how popular the stout edition was, they brought out another edition, which was the IPA. As I said earlier, it is not a India Pale Ale, it's an Irish Pale Ale. So the IPA edition is also 40% ABV, like the stout. They're aged in ex-bourbon barrels and the beer barrels, and the beer itself sat in the barrels at the brewery for around 3 months. They both have a no age statement, and looking at the colour of both of them, they are a little bit dark, so I would say that they probably do have some colouring, and that's pretty normal for blended whiskies. And they're a blend of Irish pot still and grain whiskies, as I'll give this one a try too. So on the nose, the aroma probably isn't as strong as the Stout edition. Now, I probably, now looking back on it, should have done the IPA first, but I do get that slight hoppiness from there. Definitely get that fruitiness as well, and some grapefruit, like a grapefruit peel. It smells really nice. I'm also getting a little bit of vanilla there, now to give it a try. It's very fruity. Candied orange comes to me. It's definitely got that hoppiness coming from the pale ale. Apple, pear, a little bit of light, zesty citrus there as well. And one of the things that I'm picking up on is kind of like a banana ester, like not fresh banana, but banana lollies. And I tend to get that with Jack Daniels as well, so not sure what that's from. As far as the finish goes, it does have a little bit of oilness there. It's probably like a medium finish. I get some light spice, like a white pepper, a sweet, supple caramel sort of vanilla note with a really nice smooth finish. Which one do I prefer? I'm gonna have to say the stout edition for me because of that coffee and that sort of chocolatey flavor that comes with it. However, both of them are really good. I would go and buy both. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm back at home today. It's been a while since I've been doing reviews. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you again soon on Let's Talk Drinks.